Welcome back. I hope everybody had a good 4th of July this week. Monday, it's been a short week, but Monday was our 4th of July, so all of our offices were closed in Horry and Georgetown on Monday. I took part in the boat parade and barely beat the rain out, but man, what a fantastic time. There was a good crowd down there. At the same time, they were having the Surfside golf cart parade, and Pawleys Island had a golf cart parade, but you can't be everywhere, and I always make it a tradition to do the boat parade with Sheriff Carter Weaver, and it's just a fantastic time. So sometimes I can do two of them, but this time it was just the boat parade, because all of them started at 11 o'clock. So whatever you did, I hope that you celebrated, cooked out, and more importantly, took a minute to reflect. We can all be divided. This is a divided time across our nation, but the ideas that this nation were founded on, and documents created in 1776 and 1780s, really enduring principles that have made this nation great, even at times that, there are going to be good times and hard times in every marriage, every family, but what a wonderful nation. And just the ability to gripe and complain, you don't get to do that in a lot of these. There's 170 some other nations, and a majority of those you don't get to complain and put your voice out there. So in any way that you celebrated the 4th of July, just know that from me, I believe that this is the greatest nation on earth, and the principles that it stands for is even greater than what we are. So it leaves us some room to stretch and to get to where we need to be. With the shortened week, with a federal holiday, we are not in court this week, but we were last week, and I want to catch you up on some of those that came through. This is just a sampling, but we were in court in Horry and Georgetown. We had a young man, John Edward Brown, 42, of Conway, pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter and received 15 years in prison. This got a lot of attention, so this is one of the ones that we wanted to highlight. I get this question a bunch. Here's the answer. In other states and in movies and in television shows that you see, you hear murder 1, murder 2, murder 3. We don't have that in South Carolina. We have murder, which is 30 years to life imprisonment, maybe the death penalty. We have what other states might call murder 2, which is what we call voluntary manslaughter. It's the murder without the actual malice. And what other states would call murder 3 is involuntary. It's mistake, a death by mistake. John Brown was charged with murder. Honestly, everything in there would have stuck with murder, but the circumstances and the facts that prosecutors have to take into account led to us lowering this charge to voluntary manslaughter, where he could have got anywhere from 0 years to 30 years. And here's why we did what we did. Now, of course, it's up to the judge to sentence, but and that's where the 15 came in. But for everybody that's saying, why in the world would he get 15 years on this, here's the facts, and we released all of those in a press release, or part of them. John Brown lived in Bucksport. He had lived there. He had a wife or a long-time girlfriend. His tools were stolen from him. He was a carpenter. Along with John's tools, 79 other people had warrants against our victim in this case, Philip Jerome Huggins, for stealing their stuff. So I'm not saying that Philip Jerome Huggins had stole everybody's stuff, but there were 80 some odd warrants against him for stealing things. Before the police could go and arrest him, John Edwards saw him at a place that people go and get hot dogs and sandwiches in Bucksport. He was so furious that he had taken everything, all of his carpentry tools, that he went to the trunk of his car. It's all caught on tape. He took a level, which was about a 4-foot level, and started hitting the victim, and the victim was in his car. So that was not effective, swinging a 4-foot level. Then he goes back to his car, he gets a gun, he starts pistol whipping him with that. The gun goes off. It ends up killing the victim. We could have charged it for murder, but the facts, circumstances around it led us to give the lesser included charge, and we told the judge these facts, and the judge sentenced John Brown to 15 years. Got a lot of complaints, but that's the story on why John Brown would have got 15 years instead of, life in prison. Every one of these cases has a story behind it. Some are aggravating, which makes the penalty higher. Some are mitigating, that makes the penalty lower. But we don't get to say all of that in a short segment in a newspaper clip. So that is why, agree or disagree, that is why John Brown would have gotten a lesser sentence. Same week going on in Horry County, another case of a gentleman named Devontae Javal Shepard, 30 years old. He's been in and out of court quite a few times here. He just got out pulling a 10-year sentence. He got another charge of assault and battery, high and aggravated nature, and he ended up pleading guilty. A judge gave him 10 years on that charge. It is a most serious offense, which means he will serve 85% of that. Nobody died, but obviously it was a high and aggravated type assault. Devontae Shepard, having just pulled 10, will be pulling another 10. In addition to that, and because we have federal prosecutors in-house, Devontae Shepard broke his federal parole, so there will be additional penalties on top of that 10 years in another prison in the federal system that go in addition to this. So we're hoping to get a few more years tacked on to Devontae Shepard. And if you've lived around Conway for any amount of time at all, you have heard that name. So hopefully you won't hear it again for at least 10 years, hopefully more than that. Finally, in Georgetown, during that same time, a young man, Pawleys Island man, received 10 years for gun charges and drug charges. Liz Smith in our Georgetown office prosecuted him, and Judge Michael Nettles from Florence sentenced him to 10 years. Georgetown County Police were working a case about a larceny or a theft. When they were working that case, they come across Matthew Jenkins, 53, of Pawleys Island. When they found the stolen goods, they also found in his possessions crack cocaine and guns. And because of that, we were able to convict Mr. Jenkins of guns and drug charges, and he received 10 years for that. So again, you get a little bit more context into what we've been looking at, more than you would get probably in a television show, but that is the reasoning behind those sentences, and just a great job by our prosecutors working hard in Horry and Georgetown counties.